Well, my friends, it has been quite a few days, hasn't it? CFIA moved in on Universal Ostrich Farm on Monday, early Monday. Stress, worry, RCMP officers everywhere, command center set up in the back 40. CFIA mocking Katie as she's emotional on national television and independent podcasts worldwide, actually mocking CFIA, the head agent or whatever they're called, on site down there giving people the finger. The guy's like 70 years old. and he's acting like a teenager. Superior, condescending. And then yesterday, Katie and Karen got arrested. And they spent 3 hours or so in custody, sitting on chairs in some sand pile a few miles away from the farm. They were returned last night. Katie came on the show last night, along with Jeff Godrey, who's going to come on again tonight, and told us of the day's events. And then a fire this morning, a fire at 5 o'clock local time, I believe. Hay bales set on fire. Jim Kerr almost gets arrested today. But the big news of the day today, and there's so much, and I know you guys have been following all the different feeds that have been coming out of Universal Ostrich Farm, trying to make sense of it all. I heard this, I seen that, my brother says this. We're going to wrap it all up for you tonight, okay? They got the emergency stay order. As a matter of fact, we have video of the moment that it happened. So Jeff is going to tell us exactly how it happened in just a second. But here is video of the moment that Katie picked up her phone to her lawyer's call.
Getting you guys the details here. This has just come through literally seconds ago.
Omar, that's from Omar, the lawyer. Tell us.
Omar called. He said this could be. He needs to return, but it could go for as far as up to October.
Can you say that louder, Katie?
Yes, he has to really return the documents. Maybe we'll talk about the specifics about it soon. The matter of the fact is, we're all here to celebrate today.
No death! Yes!
And she just took off there. I guess she went looking for her mom. I didn't see her mom in that crowd. Jeff Godrey is on the ground at Universal Ostrich Farm. We're going to bring him on in just a second. Hello, everybody watching on all the platforms tonight, on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitch, even X. We've got an audience on X tonight. We've got an audience on Rumble tonight, of course, shadowdavis.com, and on Telegram in the Shadow at Night community over there. We're going to be back in just a second. Shadow at Night Live is brought to you by CanadaNanoSilver.com.
Silver is amazing. It has several natural health benefits, and it's been used for hundreds of years for health and healing. That's the main reason they made silverware from silver. But seriously, this nano silver from Silverceuticals is the best and safest silver you can find. There are hundreds of studies and reports on it. I've read some of the studies myself, and it's mind-blowing. One of the things that sets Silverceuticals apart is that it washes out of your body in 24 hours. No silver buildup and no turning blue. And it won't even harm the good bacteria your body needs. It's so effective they can use very small concentrations of silver, like 10 and 32 parts per million, and still outperform other silvers that have up to 3,000 parts per million. It's safer and more effective at the same time. It is an incredibly small particle that is small enough to work through your body, but big enough not to fall out of suspension. They infuse it into almost all of their products. It works in facial serums, toothpaste, gels, and even gummies that work to help your immune system.
Call today, 204-808-9292. CanadaNanoSilver.com. Dr. Kevin and Anna for more information. Oh, hey, Jeff. How's it going, buddy?
What's up, brother Shadow? Wow, Shadow. Wow, what a day.
I think that just the last 3 days, never mind the last 9 months, the last 3 days should be turned into a Netflix miniseries, my friend.
All I know is I want to play myself in that because I don't think anybody else could pull it off. I'm just joking.
Okay. So look, I know you've got a lot to tell us, and you're going to move through the crowd and talk to some different people if they're around. But before we even get to the stay, And I know you've got a great story to tell about that. I mean, did you know that that video that you put up today, I think, has been shared 4,000 times? Shared.
Shared
That's
4,000.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. That's really good outreach. That makes me happy.
That's insane.
That means it's probably getting views, hundreds of thousands,
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I think it might be into the millions. But let's talk about what happened early this morning, that fire.
Yeah, so another late night at the farm, always something going on. I finally got to bed at about 2:15. Um, it was weird. In the middle of the night, somehow my phone turned on to flight mode and my internet got turned off. So all of a sudden, Rich comes barreling through my door. Jeff, the farm's on fire and shit's hitting the fan. And I'm like, holy shit, what's going on? Pulling my clothes on, running out, hopping in my truck. Racing down to the front here, like right out the gate, 4 a.m. Right? It's like, this is gonna be a day. And what happened was, yesterday I was telling you how the CFIA was stacking hay bales on the far side of the farm. Well, somebody lit some of those hay bales on fire.
Okay, is it possible that these things were stacked incorrectly and they lit themselves on fire? I've heard that theory.
Yeah, I mean, maybe at the end of the day, I guess we're gonna have to wait till the fire department releases their evidence on what started it, if there was any accelerants involved or anything like that. But the reality is, yeah, the hay bales were on fire. I got down here about 10 after 4, and the fire department was already on it. The night staff sergeant or the officer in charge met me and Esper, Katie's brother, explained to us what was going on. And yeah, it was crazy. It was just a weird way to start the day. The air was filled with smoke and
wait. Let me ask you, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean, the Ostrich farm is a good distance away from Vernon and from the cusp, and the fire department was on site that quickly.
The local Edgewood Fire Department here.
Oh, I didn't realize they had a fire department.
Yeah, they got the little, just up the road from the farm. There's that little mini fire hall, and it's like volunteer. So those guys were working.
I thought it was a museum. That's an actual fire hall?
That's an actual fire hall, Shadow.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Well, now you do, brother. Yeah, it's real. I didn't know if they ever worked either, because we used to just sit there and park all the time when we were doing security.
Yeah, I thought it was somebody's garage, like they keep their cars in there.
Yeah, so those guys,
fire hall. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, so those guys brought their tools down and they actually took care of it. Honestly, they just kind of singed. They're big old clunky bundles of hay. I mean, they don't burn worth shit, right?
Yeah, but
they more smolder.
It looked pretty bad from the video and the photos that I saw. Like it was ablaze.
I mean, there was some flames, but as soon as they doused it, they got it under control. They saturated the ground for a couple hours. Dave was worried about the peat catching underground, and then they had a fire a couple years ago that burned through the winter because it went underground, right? So that was the big concern. So they doused it, and it kind of set the tone for kind of a negative start to the day. And really? Next up, yeah, I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, and I wasn't in the best mood at 4:30 this morning after 7 hours sleep the last 5 days.
Yeah.
So after that, Shadow, we started up the day. We got in the routine. Nobody really went back to bed because what are you going to go back to bed at 5:15 and wake up at 6? We stayed up, drank some coffee. Got the day going. As soon as I was waiting for our PLT team to get here so that I could start the day's negotiations that we had to get rolling. We needed to get a feed plan in the face of the CFIA because I was really discouraged. And I after relaying what happened to Karen, about how the CFIA just threw grain on the ground and they really didn't do a good job taking care of the ostriches. We wanted to make sure they didn't have an excuse. So Karen wrote a very detailed feed plan explaining, how much of each item to put in it, how to layer it, how much food to give into each bucket, like real child's play instructions to help these guys get what they needed to get done. So, the next step was to get that in an officer's hand so I could get that in the CFIA's hand. So the thing is here, I don't get to deal with them directly too much. They don't like us, and they don't like to deal with the public. They're a typical agency of the government. So they use the RCMP, and I say use because that's what they're doing. They're using them to essentially be the bad guy, be the facilitator for them. So we got that in the hands of the RCMP, got that over to the CFIA, but it went in a little too late because I couldn't get a hold of a liaison or an officer soon enough. And they actually commenced on feeding because I was hyping up and getting angry. And I said, well, guys, do I need to pull out the loudspeaker again today? I mean, the birds in this one pen haven't been fed in 2 days now. So if I have to get the loudspeaker out and remind you like yesterday, I'll do that. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but I will be that guy if I have to.
Hey, Jeff, how many CFIA are there? I mean, we know roughly
It's hard
20.
to tell, Shadow, because we don't really see them. Today, I know for sure the 2 guys running the show, plus Courtney, who's like the boss of them, was here. And then I seen 4 agents in their little marshmallow outfits pretending like, there's an issue inside the pen. So today, I know for sure at least 7 to 8 CFI agents, probably double that because these creepy bastards are lurking around everywhere in the bush. They hide. They don't come out in public. They're like parasites. They just. And I know that's not a nice thing to call someone, but I don't have any respect for the CFIA, especially after this experience with them.
Okay. Hold on just a second. Speaking of bad interchanges, Jimmy almost got hauled away today, didn't he?
Yeah. I was walking through the field and Jim comes run up to me and because I'm the negotiator here, he's like, Jeff, I need you to talk to the PLT team for me. And I'm like, uh-oh. I was like, what's going on, Jim? He's like, well, I was on a live and this officer confronted me and he said, I need to see your ID and talk to you and you might want to turn off your camera. So he was worried. He was like, what the hell's going on? And I was like, okay, Jim, let's figure this out. Let's go talk to them. Long story short, it was what I thought it was. It was because he was flying his drone literally right next to the pens yesterday. And we made a big deal about the RCMP flying drones and we made them stop flying them because of the no fly zone. So they were like, hey, dude, like, you can't call us out for flying drones and then you fly your drone. So essentially they just warned them. They didn't give them, no trouble or anything. We got a really good rapport with the RCMP here. So there was no, like, they don't want to even engage in that kind of content. They just wanted to say, hey, Jim, don't fly your drone in the no-fly zone and don't be a hypocrite because you told us not to, kind of thing.
Well, the thing is, though, I mean, they were flying their drones, the RCMP.
Yeah, they were.
Right. And
then we told them to stop and they did.
Yeah, right. But this is still Katie and Karen's property.
Yeah, if it was over their property, they could. But actually, Shadow, right now, it's not Katie and Karen's property. Right now, It belongs to the CFIA temporarily.
Okay, so this leads us now.
Weird.
It is very strange. The stay came in. We saw the video the moment that Katie got the phone call, and your video this morning says that you had just led the group in prayer. You said, amen, and the phone rang.
Like literally a handful of seconds later. Like it was a rough morning. There was a lot of tension in the air. Even some of the inner core, we were feeling some tension. And I was up here. Katie found me and she's like, hey, can we pray as a group? And I was like, hell yeah. We've been doing that quite a bit lately and it works. So I don't know who it was. Somebody rallied everybody up to just crowd onto the benches, circle around. There was a lot of people in this prayer. It was one of the bigger prayer circles that I've been part of. And Mike Quigley kind of said a few words, and then Katie asked me to pray. And, I talked to people a little bit before we started, and I said, you don't have to believe what I believe, but we all have some sort of faith that guides us, something that keeps us going. And that all originates in the same essence, so there's a higher power. And everybody kind of, like, I could see everybody was embracing that. And then I started praying, and Shadow, I'm not trying to go all religious on anybody here, but I just let God take over. I just became a vessel for a few moments, and the words just poured out of me, and I don't know what it was. And I felt an energy that I have not felt literally ever in my life. So at that point,
Do you know what that was, by the way? Like, if you
that
want
was the Holy Spirit, brother. That was the Holy Spirit.
Yep.
Yeah, the Holy Spirit entered me, and I finished that prayer. We said amen. We had a moment of silence, just a few seconds. Katie's phone rang. She started talking, and she announced, "We got the stay." And you can't make this shit up. We asked for a miracle, and God delivered a miracle to us. And people were shocked. I had people coming up to me, "You made a believer out of me." People like shocked, like, how is this happening right now? Like this. In my opinion, we had some divine intervention today. And, I tell you something, my friend, God just bought me for life. I am now, a vessel for the rest of my days. I tell you that.
That's great news, man. That is fantastic. Did you get baptized when Pastor Art was there?
I did. I mean, I got baptized as a kid, but when we're a kid, we don't truly understand the commitment that we're making. So when Art was here, for Farm Aid on that Sunday, I did. Pastor Art Pulowski, he baptized me, as a grown man, and it was really just a recommitment to the oath and the faith that I've had, most of my life, kind of thing.
That's great, man. That's great.
I know, brother. I know. I'm just glowing from it.
So the stay, there are conditions. CFIA is still there. There's still.
You bet.
Now,
you bet.
I thought, I was hoping and praying that they were going to be gone once the stay was granted.
Yeah, I think everybody hoped that in the back of their mind. The reality, though, the hard reality of the stay, it stops the call order, but the CFIA has still taken control of this land and has a warrant that lasts from September 20. Well, when they came in 2 days ago, for 1 month, 30 days. So they don't technically have to walk away. What they have to do is halt on all call procedures. They have to put a pause on the call. So that includes not calling, and it also includes preparation for the call. So they can't be back there building their creepy little labyrinth, doing all the things that they would do to prepare for calling the birds. So that's a win. On the same token, they now take on the responsibility for the welfare of the birds for the next little while until either we get a Supreme Court approval or the stay ends. So now they're responsible for feeding, watering, animal welfare, animal health, and Shadow. Let me tell you,
they're brutal.
they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Pardon my language. I watched them feed those birds today, Shadow. It was like kids learning how to do chores for the first time.
Oh, man.
It's disturbing. So now they have the plan from Karen, at least, to try to help them learn how to do their jobs.
So are they staying on the farm, or are they like, where do you know where they've been staying? We know.
Yeah, we Oh, look who I just found. He's in his car, so we better stop and say hi to him.
Hey, Jimmy, how you doing? You almost got yourself arrested. You dumbass. You almost got yourself arrested today. What are you doing?
Oh, you know what? You know what that exemplifies? Us conspiracy theorists, we jump to conclusions sometimes, and that's exactly what happened.
Hey, I want to meet Shadow.
Hey, look, this is Thundra.
Hi, Shadow.
Hey, Thundra. How you doing? Nice to meet you.
I've heard a lot of great things about you. I've seen you. You're awesome.
Same. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So what's your first experience at the farm like?
Oh my God. Incredible. Like Jim told me all about the people, and he was like so right. Yeah, it's pretty magical.
Yeah, you caught him at a pretty stressful time.
Yeah.
We're kind of used to stress though.
Amen to that, eh?
Yeah, we all been doing this a little while, haven't we?
No kidding. So what happened, Jimmy? I know that Jeff was telling us a little bit about what happened with you. Something to do with drones? I thought it was hay bales.
Oh, no. Actually, I have a theory on the hay bales and the fence. Actually, I would like to talk about it. So last night, we're camped at the far side of the thing, okay? and we're sleeping in our truck thing. All we see is flashlights everywhere, right? And I think Thunder heard a siren. And we're like, what's that, right? And then we find out about the hay bales. And the theory about the fencing is that because they were searching in the field beside the property, I'm guessing it was probably somebody that was local. You know how the bird got shot and such, and there's been those kind of events.
Yeah.
They probably made a straight run across the field into the pens, I'm guessing. I mean, that's why they're putting the fences up. So it was funny because some lady was upset and she said, well, they said it was for our protection. Well, maybe it actually is. You know what I mean? Like maybe the fencing is actually there for our protection so that some kind of Antifa type or whatever doesn't just go ruin everything that we're building here.
How high is the fencing, though?
Here, I'll show it, Chad. I'll be right back.
Love you guys.
Jim's done. All right, we'll walk over to the fencing. So it's 8-foot fence panels.
Okay, so that in and of itself, that's higher than you need for an in-ground pool.
Well, they're open fences. You can see through them. They're just wire kind of construction fences, right? I'll show you right now.
Okay.
So it doesn't obstruct our vision of the birds.
Whoa, you need to get back to the fence, lady. I'm like,
That's what they look like, and it's stretched along all of Langell from where the farm driveway is to down the corner, kind of where the churn off is at the edge of the farm there. And this is what happened, Shadow. Those bales burned. Somebody was caught with gasoline on or in their hand or whatever in the neighbor's yard. Somebody punched Lois in the head, unfortunately. That's the reality of it. And they made a call that, okay, well, we have a few incidents that suggest maybe we should heighten up the security around these birds to protect them. I don't see an issue with the fence. It's going to...
Who has to pay for it? Is it at the CFIA's expense, or are they going to bill the family later?
Sorry?
The fence, who's paying for it?
That's us, the taxpayers, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all our expense. Everything they buy is at our expense. The reality is, the fence is shitty, but the birds are alive. Yeah. And the CFIA was gonna do that anyways. They were gonna put this fence in at one point, no matter what. So
Katie was talking. I'm not sure if it was last night. Was it last night or this morning? Maybe it was this morning about a dump truck leaving the property surrounded by RCMP cruisers. And she was worried that they may have killed the first dozen or so ostriches. Has anything that you're aware of, has any ostrich been killed?
Not that I know of. There's a lot of people's nerves are up high, Shadow. So there is a lot of speculation. Even me, I was like kind of weirded out. I was like, fire, the hay bales are burning. I had a sick feeling in my stomach. I was like, they're not, are they? I don't even want to say it, but they're not doing it and covering it up while they're doing it. Like, I actually felt gross. I was like, it reminded me of Nazi Germany. I was like, that's the kind of crazy shit the SS and the Gestapo used to pull off, right? So there was some concern, and Katie was concerned, and I had a little bit of concern, and other people did. So as soon as the day shift got in, like, I've developed a little bit of rapport with the members, through the negotiation processes over the last few days. And I'm allowed to talk to the guy at the top now, because we get shit done and we keep the peace, and we get the protest or the supporters what we need, and the other guys get their work done, and we're allotted the rights that we should be allotted as Canadian citizens to stand against what's happening. So I talked to him and I'm like, hey, dude, we really got to get something straight, because if we don't, this is going to blow up on social media and people are going to lose their shit and they're going to be angry, and it's going to create a very hostile situation here. And we don't need that. We don't need a hostile situation for anybody.
Yeah.
So I talk with him and he just looks at me straight up. He's like, dude, nope, not a chance, zero. He's like, they have to notify me if they commence on anything. It's our responsibility to know what is going on and develop a safety plan and procedure around that. He's like, they have to notify me before they start the call. He's like, Jeff, 100%, I swear on my kids, not a chance that they commence the call yet.
Okay,
And you
so
know
what about those guys who were walking around in their hazmat suits yesterday, the Rebel News captured on video?
They're
What were
the
they doing?
feeders. That's what you got to wear when you feed. And then also, today
What?
they were, yeah, you got to wear the marshmallow shoots to feed the birds. It's pretty funny.
Karen and Dave and Katie don't.
Yeah, I know. They must be really sick, eh?
Oh my God. So we were talking before we got off on this tangent. We were talking about CFIA. Are they coming and going off the farm still? Are they staying?
Well, they do come and go. I believe there's a 24-hour-a-day presence. They have to have somebody on site all the time because it's their what they call work site.
What about the RCMP? Like they're still there
24 hours a day. Right. The night shift is a lot less. Like here at the gates of the farm, the night shift is pretty mellow now. We got a good mellow rapport. Everybody knows, there's no anger, no violence. So, at night we got just a couple cars parked right here, but they are parked in every pivotal spot around the farm, around the property. So there's a couple down at the end, a couple at the back, a couple on the far side. They are spread around. We got a bunch of cops at the end of the road at the checkpoint, where you churn off to Edgewood. So the presence is here. But you know what? If people are going to be sneaking around, no matter who they are, burning hay, potentially jeopardizing our mission, our cause, I don't mind the RCMP here doing their job. I will tell you, Shadow, I've dealt with RCMP for a long time in these situations now, Freedom Convoy, many other similar scenarios. And these cops or these officers, RCMP members, by far have the highest level of professionalism that I have dealt with in this kind of scenario.
Yeah, but Jeff, they're still there to kill a bunch of healthy ostriches.
Well, no, they're here to allow the CFIA to get their job done. It's gross.
Right.
So they're not involved in anything other than making sure the CFIA is not obstructed in their job and to make sure we're safe on this side. They do not participate in any of the actions that involve the ostriches themselves.
But it's not even the CFIA that's doing it. As we established yesterday, they've got a kill squad that does it, right?
Yeah, but they're still here, overseeing it all. They're little, I call him Mr. Burns.
Excellent.
Yeah, Mr. Burns is kind of the guy calling the shots. And then Courtney, I have never met Courtney. She's like one level up. She was around today, conveniently already here at 4:00 in the morning. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I was like, wow, you get up early, Courtney.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what's the mood like now? Because the RCMP and CFIA are still there, I would imagine that the mood, well, slightly lighter now, is still a little bit like confrontational. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's nobody liked the fence going up. Nobody likes the fact that the RCMP are still here and the CFIA here. Everybody likes the fact that the birds are alive, and we know they're not getting called tomorrow at the least, and the next day, and probably the next day. So there is that relief. Karen, if you want to have a chat with her, I just ran into her. She's feeling relief. Yeah.
Yes, people have been wanting to see Karen, so let's get her if we can.
That's right. She's just having a chat. And give me one second. Do you want to? There's somebody special that wants to say hello and do a little bit of an interview.
I love you, Shadow. Wish you were here.
I'm so very happy for you today.
We're just so happy today. Thank you. So it's a miracle, but it's one.
Let me ask you, Karen. I mean, how are the CFIA? You do this every day. You've been doing this for a long time, taking care of those birds. How are the CFIA doing? Are they doing okay in there?
No. We're working on it. We're working on it. We're writing things down and we're telling them what we expect now. Because if they're going to take over and commandeer the place and not allow us in, and Dave walked out of the fence line and didn't get arrested so that he could have a chance to work with them. And we said, like, we can teach you, Dave could show you. We have a hen that got hurt from the drones. We had birds outside the perimeter. They've gotten one in on their own, but they don't know how much to feed the birds, even though we said how much. They're putting out like little containers where we're putting a 5-gallon bucket between 3 buckets. They're dumping a little tiny container per bucket. So we said this all has to be like cleared up immediately. And the same thing with treating the hen. I treated her. She had a really bad swollen leg. I treated her before I left, and now I'm demanding. I still haven't heard. I told him exactly where the meds were, what she needed, and so far all they said is she was okay, and they didn't know if she had been treated yet. But no, we're being now we want to know what their standard of procedure is. Everything they put us through, we would like to also see that they're following the same rules.
Are you able to speak to them directly, or do you have to speak through the RCMP?
All through liaisons, not even the RCMP. We have to go through a liaison.
Wouldn't it be much easier if you could just sit down and go, all right, this is what you need to do, so do it, instead of having to go through 2 or 3 different people, right?
Yeah, and then they wanted to feed their feed, but they wouldn't tell us what's in their feed.
Right.
And we said, absolutely not. We insist that they feed our feed because that's what they're used to. And I'm a little concerned what is in their feed.
Yeah, well, we were thinking about that yesterday, when we were having this discussion, and we thought, well, is that how they're going to do it? Are they going to poison them? Did you ever figure out what their method was going to be?
Yeah, I think we have a good idea by the complete wall of bales that they've created. Not only that you can't see them, but early on when this started, we had heard that they were going to put this wall up, and then they were going to have sharpshooters on the top, and they were going to run them into the bales. Now you can't tell me that's humane either, because they're fast birds.
Yeah.
They'd be running around frantically, and then are you going to have a good aim? Would you be able to do it?
I don't think so. I mean, it depends on if you've got, I guess the bales would have been for the elevated position to get them out of the way of the ostriches. I don't know. I mean,
I think, to keep them safe too, but
yeah,
no,
it's horrible to think about. And I'm sure that you were elated today. I mean, there's a legendary photo of you and Katie, and I think Dave is in that too, tears of joy. And
many tears of joy today.
How much time do you have, Karen? Do you know?
We have till October 3rd for them to give a response, but we're pretty well guaranteed, knowing with their 5 lawyers, that we'll probably have a response in a couple days, and then we only have 2 days to respond as usual.
Right. So you've got to respond within the 2 days. So that means you'll be
getting their response.
Right, their response.
Yeah, their response. Yeah.
So when do you hear from the Supreme Court if they're going to hear the case? Do we know?
When we respond back to them, then it's before the judge to decide whether we get the stay until the Supreme Court can hear us.
Are you confident?
No, because only 6% ever get heard, but we hear high profile cases do get usually to Supreme Court, which, the way we look at it, I think we've made enough recognition around the world now that we should be somewhat high profile, and we have good evidence.
I think there's a few people that know about you guys. Dr. Robert Malone tweeted today saying something like, "Don't tell me the Canadian government isn't evil," and that tweet has been seen something like 200,000 times. So yes, it is worldwide news what's happening there at Universal Ostrich Farm. I am so very happy for you guys today, and so very proud of you for the perseverance, dedication, tireless work that you've been throwing in there. All of the people that you've greeted so warmly through all of this, even as you've been going through all of the. How's Eric, by the way? I didn't ask yesterday. Is he okay?
He had left out by an ambulance through this to the hospital for 3 days, but he's back today. He came back.
Okay, so no heart attack. It was a stress situation.
Yeah, he was feeling like he had some chest pains, but they checked it out, and he checked out okay. But they kept him just because of everything that was going on. They thought it was best because of the stress on him.
I'd say so. A couple of other questions while I've got you here. There's a lot of people who were asking me today, what was the deal with this Indigenous thing? Was it Because Katie,
There was Katie. Katie went and met, and they're supposed to be one of the last warrior tribe, like really high up in the tribes. And it was an 81-year-old chief that she went to meet, and they have had original claims, I think, on the land. And so she went and met with him, and they had written a letter on behalf of their tribe, putting a claim of cease and desist immediately, and saying that they're putting their name on these birds, that they cannot touch them. We don't know where that'll go, but they printed off a whole bunch of copies that are shipping them out.
that's a slippery slope. Watch that one, because that's had to do with UNDRIP, and it could be
Right.
that they just decide to keep everything. If you win it,
And I know, absolutely. I'd rather kind of maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say,
resort.
because, yeah, we've had wherever the blessings come right now, we're taking them. But in the same respects, yeah, we want to keep moving and maintain complete control of our own animals for sure.
how many people have you got down there? It sounds like more than yesterday.
Wow.
Looks like it too.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Two-
We've got lots.
Anywhere it's hard to tell, but probably 200 to 300, eh? Like if you had-
That we've
Really?
had. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we've
Oh,
had
yeah.
quite a few people.
like there was 300 probably earlier today. I mean, a whole whack of people went home. They were up for the day. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
full. I would say, a few people rolled in, a few people went home today. Some of the locals or the regulars were like, "Okay, it's time to get home and have a couple days. I'm gonna head home tomorrow in the morning. We're safe for a couple days, so I'm gonna go home for a little visit, spend some time with the kids, maybe
Good
come
idea.
back on Saturday when we're a little closer to when the CFIA is probably gonna submit their response. We'll see what happens, But
Yeah.
if anyone needs a break, wants to get home, this is probably the moment to do it, eh, Karen?
yes,
Oh,
for
by the
sure.
way, CFIA Director Paul McKinnon shut down his X account today. Only people, verified followers. Him. He's a him. Did you know that? He's a him on X. Only
Good.
only verified
Good to
followers can follow
clarify.
his account. All of his tweets, all of his posts are now concealed to us. We can't see. You guys, thank you for coming on tonight. Is there anything else we forgot? Was there anything that we need to get out that we didn't?
One thing we have put in for is the reconsideration letter, and that's the letter that when they won the judicial review and we said, okay, you win, and then we gave them all that wonderful evidence of showing that they're happy and healthy and alive for 8 months. They turned us down the day our CFIA showed up here. That's the day we got the letter from Courtney saying we're denying that, which is huge, because we are also putting in for an appeal on that right away. I think
You know what, Karen?
it'll be tomorrow.
There's a lot of people who are of the mind that this is, it's partly to do with the World Health Organization and Canada following all of their guidelines rigidly. But there's some people out there who feel that maybe this is something else. Maybe it's just a stubborn bureaucrat who wants to get his or her way no matter what. And they wield a lot of power within the agency. And if they lose, it's going to make them look bad. This is very precedent setting. What's your take on this?
Many times we feel that way too. It is 100% aggressive bullies, just saying we can't be wrong, we can't lose. And we're saying, we all have to humble sometimes and admit when the truth is in front of your face.
Mhm.
And they just need to learn how to humble a bit.
And finally, is everybody behaving themselves aside from that one
Of course.
incident?
Honestly, we don't think any of this was related to anybody here. We do believe there's been a hate group, and there was kind of a thing staged earlier on that we do believe came from the hate group that tried to make the supporters look bad. But even in the video,
what do you mean a hate group? There was a hate group like Antifa or something?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. What was that all about?
Oh, it's just a little group in Edgewood that
Oh, the
that group,
locals.
that invited the news in to say that they're threatened by us and we're terrible people. And yet on their little group, they say we're going to burn them out and then our bills get burnt. They say we're going to make the supporters look bad. And then they stage it that the neighbor is getting attacked by some man dressed in black and she's screaming. But when the supporters are yelling, run to the fence, to the police, she walks with the gentleman around a tree, just blood curdling screams. Like it was so, yeah, it was so staged. The cops even were like, okay, we're over that one.
You know, Karen, I was telling Jeff earlier that wouldn't this be a great, and I don't mean to make light of the situation because it's your reality. It's been our reality for 9 months now, but wouldn't this make a great miniseries on Netflix or one of the other, like,
you know what? You
pay-per-views?
can't make this leap up.
Yeah, you can't make this shit up. No,
That's what I
you
mean,
can't.
right? Like it's a true life story. Maybe
Oh
write
my
a
God.
book, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it would be a bestseller.
I bet.
Okay, you guys, thanks very much. Jeff, is there anything
Love
else?
you.
Love you too,
I don't
Karen.
think so, Shadow. Crazy day. Positive energy right now. We're gonna celebrate a little bit tonight and
Oh, yeah.
relax and take this small win because it's actually a big one. I think this is the point where we get over that top. We now have the public. We're swaying the politicians in Canada and America. One more thing. You'll love this. So the RCMP were a little frustrated this afternoon trying to solidify getting this fence up. I came out, situation was a little heated. I kind of diffused things. I got talking to Atkins, who is the staff sergeant, during the day, and they're getting the fence up, and I'm like, dude, there's a good chance tomorrow this fence is going to be coming down if we can get inside Super Safe's head. And he just kind of, for the first time, I seen frustration in him, and he's like, Jeff, I need to tell you something. He's like, last night or yesterday, we tried to get lights all day long, floodlights, to go across the back of the farm, and not a company anywhere would rent them to us.
That's great, man. That's nobody wants to do business. That's funny. I was having discussions like that for the last couple of days. And these guys, Michelle Ferreri, former conservative MP, has got it wrong. I say it's cowardice that these guys are doing this. If they all stood up and said, this is so ridiculous, we're not doing this, it wouldn't get done. This is not justice. It might be lawful, but it's not justice. And if they all just said, you know what, F this, and got up and left, they might lose their jobs. Maybe not. They are allowed to, not follow unlawful orders.
Yeah, it's an internal breach, but it's not like if RCMP do it, it's actually not an offense where they lose their job. It is a citation for them, but it's not really. They're not going to really
understand that what they're doing is completely and totally wrong. It's
some
wrong.
of them do, Shadow. We're really breaking the ice with some of these guys. I got to say they like me a lot because I've been able to keep peace. Like the situation will be hot. I'll walk in, I'll talk for 5 minutes, and both sides are laughing and chuckling and enjoying life because, this is stressful for everybody. But what I've noticed, I watch how they react when I speak to our side, and they listen. They're humans just like us. They're people just like us. They got families. They got kids. They can relate if you can get down to their level. If you sit there and scream in their face all day long, not shame them, but belittle them, you're not going to get through to these people. They're just like you. Shut up. If I scream at you all day, not shame you, but belittle you, call you down all day long, and then I want you to be receptive to what I'm going to tell you, it's not going to work. What I'm noticing more and more as this goes on, chuckles, smiles, nods, acknowledgement to what is being said. That's good for me. That's good enough for me. I would love every one of these dudes to say, fuck this, and walk across that line. Because if they did that, the CFIA has to go home because they need the RCMP here to do their job.
Can you imagine the fear on their faces if the RCMP all got up and left? They'd be like, oh no, as the crowd converges.
I wish I could have seen Mr. Burns's face today when they announced that they would have known at the back of the farm because we screamed and hooted so loud. There's no way they didn't. I would have loved to see that greasy prick's face. I tell you that, man.
All right, bro. Thank you very much.
All right, I love you, brother.
Have a few drinks tonight. I'm sure you're going to have a campfire like we did a couple of months ago. Enjoy yourself.
You bet, brother.
Man.
Campfire, and then I'm going to wake up the crack of dawn, go home, and I'm going to hang out with my son and my daughter, and have some good kid time, and enjoy life. That's what we're fighting for, Shadow. Those moments right there.
All right,
All right,
man.
brother.
Thank you. Great
Take
job,
care.
Jeff.
All
Bye. Jeff Godrey from Universal Ostrich Farm, Karen Esperson as well, and Jim Kerr and his wife Thundra making a cameo appearance on the show tonight. I have more for you. There's a little bit more and some great stuff on the extension tonight for the all access pass holders at shadowdavis.com. I'm coming right back.
Today we're comparing Crest toothpaste to SilverSeuticals toothpaste. First, we're starting out with Crest. It's a classic, it's an original. It's what I've used most of my life. But that being said, it does have its problems. First off, the consistency is so weird and thick, and I get it's a paste, but it really doesn't spread that well. And I must also say that I'm not in love with the taste. I get toothpaste isn't supposed to taste good, but why shouldn't it? But that being said, it does get the job done. Next we have SilverSeuticals. They have 3 flavors, but today we're going with Bubbleberry. And already it smells so good. So I'm excited to see what this tastes like. The consistency is also a lot smoother, and I must say it spreads way nicer in your mouth.
This literally tastes like fruit bubblegum.
Yeah, this toothpaste was pretty good. I actually went in for seconds, and it's infused with nano silver, so it helps remineralize your teeth and keep them fresh throughout the day.
100% go with SilverSeuticals.
And here's the results. What's your favorite toothpaste?
CanadaNanoSilver.com, 204-808-9292. Again, that is CanadaNanoSilver.com. Okay. A lot of people I noticed today, especially on X, seem to be making, and we're talking about conservative, almost like conservative party influencers who carry thousands and thousands of followers on X mostly, making a concerted effort to shame Pierre Poilievre, saying he's not worthy of the leadership of the Conservative Party, calling him out for parachuting himself into the Battle River Crowfoot riding for that by-election. Is there the wind of change blowing right now? Mr. Sunshine Baby, who I thought was bought off by the Conservative Party a while ago, and I still believe there are some influencers out there who are, and you probably know who I'm talking about. But Mr. Sunshine Baby, I remember now, actually made a trip to the Ostrich Farm. Many of them are not even talking about the Ostrich Farm. The Conservative Party finally brought it up in the House of Commons today. And we're going to show you that video in just a second. But first, here is Mr. Sunshine Baby calling out Pierre Poilievre.
Mental that the entire Conservative Party of Canada has been silent about it until the final question in question period by a backbenching MP whose name we don't even know and honestly don't even care about. We know, you know, and I know who we want to talk about this, who can actually make some change and start to put even more political pressure from internally on these agencies that are trying to illegally cull 400 birds, 400 research ostriches.
It's not illegal. It's not just, but it's not illegal. Just to clarify that.
At a Canadian farm. That man is Pierre Poilievre, and when this question was asked, he was gone. Pierre left. He disappeared. He vanished. We all make fun of Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney for running out of the house. Pierre Poilievre ran out of the house, too. He's gone. You know where he went? I don't know, but I can only speculate that he went to look at internal polling to see if it made sense, if it was safe enough for him to talk about the ostriches, because the Conservative Party of Canada is a bunch of pussies.
The honourable member for Kamloops, Shuswap, Central Rockies.
Mr. Speaker, farmers love their animals and would do anything to protect them. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
Okay, so we're going to get on with this. Mel Arnold from Shuswap, Central Rockies, Kamloops, BC, is the Conservative MP there. Listen to the response that comes from the other side of the House, the Liberal Party, and then look at their faces. Look at their faces, all of them, at the very end of this video. Watch.
The agency is planning to cull 400 ostriches in BC because of an outbreak of avian flu. When it comes to animal safety, Canadians expect due diligence and transparency. Canadians are looking to this government to explain why the cull is necessary, but the Liberal government has not posted a public update in over a month. Canadians want to know, Why did the Liberal ministers not work with the agriculture sector to resolve this issue?
So why were they heckling? Why were the Liberals heckling when Mel Arnold here stood up and brought up Universal Ostrich Farm? Are they soulless? And the health minister, not even in the House.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Sorry, make that the Minister of Agriculture.
Speaker, I want to make sure that this member knows that I am working very closely with the Minister of Agriculture, and the case is now in front of the court, so I won't comment more. Thank you.
She's smirking. That other one in the purple sweater is smirking. Why are they smirking? Is there something funny about 400 ostriches being killed? What's funny about that? Or is it that the Conservative Party and the Liberal Party have made a deal that they're not going to talk about it? As Mr. Sunshine Baby correctly points out, that was the final question in the House of Commons question period today. Maybe they were getting set to go out for a drink. I don't know. But they certainly weren't taking it very seriously, were they? It's a token effort by the Conservative Party of Canada to get it on the record. Do they care? Nah, not in my opinion. But if you hold an X account, and you don't have to pay for the check mark if you don't want, just go on X. I want all of you to be able to have at least access to X so you can go on there and see once in a while. There's good stuff on there, depending on who you're following, of course. And like I said, all of the conservative influencers were after the Conservatives today. Wright Blend, our friend Wright Blend is one of them, saying, look, man, I mean, he was one of the guys who was going to the Pierre Poilievre rallies during the election campaign. And you know what? I totally get that. That's taking the better of two evils. And I believe I said that during the election campaign, that Mark Carney was going to destroy us quickly. The Conservatives were going to destroy us slowly, but at least it would give us some time that we could do something, but we probably wouldn't have done something anyway. Maybe we need a swift kick in the ass. And that's what we're getting right now. But people are calling for Pierre Poilievre to step down, and they're doing it in droves. People who once supported this guy. And poll numbers show that the Conservatives are 5 or 6 points away from the Liberals right now. What do we do about this? You know who was at the Ostrich Farm today? Grant Abraham. Remember Grant? He was on the show a couple of weeks ago. He was running for that empty seat in Battle River Crowfoot for the United Party of Canada. And I believe he's got other things in mind. I believe that he's somehow going to be involved very prominently in the Alberta independence vote movement and the United Conservative Party's AGM, which is coming up at the end of November. I've got a feeling that Danielle Smith is not as safe as she thinks she is right now. Let's get back to the ostriches for just a second here. This is an article from left-wing corporate CTV that came out at the end of May. A University of Saskatchewan virologist sees things differently than the person at the top of this article who said, yeah, let's test the birds. Why not? Dr. Angela Rasmussen says culling remains the only reliable way to ensure the disease doesn't spread to other poultry, wildlife, or farms. There is no other poultry, wildlife, or farms within miles of Universal Ostrich Farm. But look what she says. Canada has signed treaties, including with the World Organization for Animal Health, to respond to avian influenza outbreaks in poultry species such as ostriches by culling them. Because we have lots and lots of data historically from many different countries showing that that's the only reliable way to prevent the spread of H5N1 to other farms. She's talking out her ass. But she was on the CBC today. Watch this.
Flu outbreaks with what's called the stamping out policy, or mandatory depopulation of flocks that have been infected. So this is really both scientifically and legally, I think, the right thing to do to reduce the risk as much as we can.
You're a leading expert in this field. You have no political agenda when it comes to analyzing science.
You have no political agenda. I want you to remember that.
So I want to put to you something we heard from the spokesperson for the farm, saying that these birds have been healthy for more than 200 days, that they're probably building immunity to avian flu, and therefore not only should they not be culled, but we should actually be preserving these ostriches. When you hear that, what's your reaction?
Well, my reaction to that is that it's not really accurate. So in ostriches, disease severity is based on how old the birds are, and these are all older birds. Older birds tend to not get very sick when they are infected with avian flu, at least in the few experiments that have been done with this and in our observations at different ostrich outbreaks. So you can't really tell if the ostriches are sick just by looking at them. You also can't make the assumption that they're going to develop protective immunity against a reinfection because often these older ostriches that don't get very sick don't develop antibodies against the virus. So we actually don't really know if these birds do have protective immunity, if they had been infected before. We just have to assume that they could have been infected and they
what?
May still be infected.
We just have to assume because we don't really know if they have antibodies. Why don't you test them then? Do you notice how the CBC completely skirted around that one key question that we have been asking for 9 months now? They didn't even bring it up. But let's get back to Dr. Angela Rasmussen's non-political views. Let's see who Dr. Angela Rasmussen is. Let me throw this up on the screen here. So, her advocacy from the Wikipedia page is this. Rasmussen has served on a national... she's an American working in Saskatchewan, right? So she's an American doctor who's working at the University of Saskatchewan. She's on the National Institutes of Health Working Group on changing the culture to end sexual harassment. I have no idea why there would be a group called that in the National Institutes of Health, but there was. She was on it in biomedical research fields. What? She formerly served on the leadership of the organization Me Too STEM. Remember Me Too? That was when any man who goes to work and accidentally bumps into a woman or gets too close to a woman or breathes on a woman can be accused of sexual misconduct and get fired from his job. Remember that? Believe all women. Okay, look, I love women, but not every woman I've ever met tells the truth all the time about everything. I can tell you that right now. Dr. Angela Rasmussen was on Me Too. Clearly a leftist. But if that doesn't convince you, let me show you her X page. Dr. Angela Rasmussen, virologist, Jeopardy loser, disreputable vaccine cheerleader, opinions my own, she, her. Who puts she, her in their bios? People who are on the radical left. That's, in my opinion, who Dr. Angela Rasmussen is. Of course, you guys are entitled to your own opinions as well. Speaking of liberals have been silent on funding for anti-hate group linked to Antifa in court. So have the conservatives. Do you remember the first day of the House of Commons coming back last week? Wright Blend and Chris Dacey, those guys, they were on the street trying to talk to the conservative politicians going into the House of Commons. And they were asking, hey, how do you feel about defunding the Canadian anti-hate network because they're tied to Antifa? I'm sorry, what? What? Huh? Or they would just kind of laugh and smile and walk past. What organization are you with? In other words, you're irrelevant because you're not with one of the left-wing corporate media groups. Conservative politicians. Liberals were worse, but these were conservative politicians. In the meantime, Donald Trump issued this today. After last week making Antifa a terrorist organization, He said on Truth Social today, I've been briefed on the deadly shooting at the ICE field office in Dallas. It's now been revealed the deranged shooter wrote anti-ICE on his shell casings. This is despicable. The brave men and women of ICE are just trying to do their jobs and remove the worst of the worst criminals from our country. Like he talked about in his UN speech yesterday, which, by the way, the left-wing corporate media was all over today. Self-aggrandizing. The man's ended 7 wars in his first 8 months in office. Sometimes he gets a little too self-congratulatory as far as I'm concerned. It rubs me the wrong way too, but he does some good stuff. He was talking about, in case you missed the speech, we played the entire thing on the extension last night. He was talking about, hey man, this mass migration, it's got to stop. He also said climate change is bullshit. He didn't use those words. He was actually very eloquent, I thought, last night. The most presidential speech I've ever seen him give. He should have gotten a standing ovation at the end of it, but he got warm, lukewarm applause, kind of a golf clap. None of the globalists and climate fearmongers in the audience appreciated anything he said, and I guess you can understand why. Anyway, Trump goes on to say, ICE agents are facing an unprecedented increase in threats, violence, and attacks by deranged radical leftists. This violence is the result of the radical left Democrats constantly demonizing law enforcement, calling for ICE to be demolished and comparing ICE officers to Nazis. The continuing violence from radical left terrorists in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination must be stopped. ICE officers and other brave members of law enforcement are under grave threat. We have already declared Antifa a terrorist organization, and I will be signing an executive order this week to dismantle these domestic terrorism networks. I am calling on all Democrats to stop this rhetoric against ICE and America's law enforcement right now. The Trump administration is fully committed to backing law enforcement, strong borders, securing our homeland, deporting violent, illegal criminals, and fully rooting out the left-wing domestic terrorism that is terrorizing our country. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And in Canada, crickets. Crickets. Well, not completely crickets. There's a lot of swearing and cursing. Mark Carney's still giving our money away. But first, he's got to head to the UK to talk trade with world leaders over there, never mind Donald Trump. And he's also committed $60 million of our dollars to Haiti now. Wants UN to back U.S. gang suppression plan. Well, I suppose that's a nice thought. But why does he have to give up $60 million of our dollars when there are so many Canadian families who are suffering, standing in line at food banks right now, cutting back on meals? They are. Diluting soups, condiments with water, just so they can stretch it 1 or 2 more days. A former RBC employee has been charged with fraud and identity theft for accessing Mark Carney's personal data. What? It was that easy? Oh, I wonder what he found. The RCMP has arrested and charged a former Royal Bank of Canada employee after he allegedly accessed Mark Carney's personal data. The federal police force confirmed today that Ibrahim El Hakim, a 23-year-old man living in Ottawa, has been charged with fraud over $5,000 and unauthorized use of his work computer, identity theft, and trafficking in identity information. I wonder if Carney's credit cards are all compromised now. News of the fraud was first revealed by Quebec media outlets, which accessed court documents in Montreal. Post Media has not independently viewed these documents. El Hakim is no longer an employee at Royal Bank. I guess not. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. So Donald Trump really criticized the mayor of London, England yesterday in his UN speech. And here it is here. Watch.
And I have to say, I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law. But you're in a different country. You can't do that.
Okay, so what happened is the mayor of London, I forget his name now. What is his name?
Flew out.
Oops, we already played that. What is the guy's name? We'll get to that. But here's the story. That's what I meant to put up on the screen. London mayor hits back at Trump's UNGA, that's the United Nations speech, comments, calls U.S. president racist and Islamophobic. What a surprise that the left would call somebody who was only making sense a racist and an Islamophobe. Sadiq Khan, that's his name. He's the mayor of London. Fired back at Donald Trump. The false claims that Sharia law is being introduced in the British capital. Just wait. You're a conspiracy theorist. Everybody's yelling and screaming that at you guys and me 3 years ago. And now look, they're trying to kill 400 healthy ostriches in British Columbia. And yeah, I would probably say that they're trying to bring Sharia law into England for sure. I mean, you've had Islam there for years, and it's white people, English people are now the minority in London. And they walk up to you boldly and say, we're taking over your country. Have you seen video like that? I know I have, on pretty much every platform, Instagram, TikTok, X. So he called Trump racist, sexist, misogynistic, and Islamophobic. Ooh. Zingers right out of the leftist handbook of insults. Khan is the first Muslim mayor of a Western capital city, told reporters today. People are wondering what it is about this Muslim mayor who leads a liberal, multicultural, progressive, and successful city that means I appear to be living rent-free in Donald Trump's head. No, I don't think you are. You are not living rent-free. He didn't even mention you by name. He's just talking about the city that you've been running into the ground. But you know what? He's not the only one. You guys heard of John Cleese, right? Monty Python's Flying Circus. Faulty Towers. John Cleese. Probably can't find a bigger lefty out there. People say he's fair. No, he's a big lefty, John Cleese is. But listen to what he had to say about a month ago here.
I'm not sure what's going on in Britain. Or let me say this, I don't know what's going on in London, because London is no longer an English city, and that's how they got the Olympics. I mean, they said we're the most cosmopolitan city on earth, but it doesn't feel English. I had a Californian friend come over 2 months ago, walk down the King's Road and said to me, well, where are all the English people? And I mean, I love having different cultures around, but when the parent culture kind of dissipates, you're left thinking, well, what's going on?
John Cleese said, London's no longer an English city. It isn't. Go to Toronto, no longer a Canadian city. I don't know if Montreal has got that problem, because Quebec is much different about protecting their culture than the rest of Canada. And the federal government largely lets that go because they need the votes in Quebec in order to keep winning government after government after government. And the rest of us are the ones that suffer. Go to Vancouver. They call it Chancouver for a reason. Now, even just saying that, does that make me racist? Or just a jokester? But there's more and more people from the same country piling into Vancouver now. And why is it that it seems to be that all of these new migrants or temporary foreign workers or temporary students or whatever they are, who have bloated our population, Canada's population, by the way, almost at 42 million now. Before COVID, it was barely at 38 million. That's 4 million people in 5 years. That's a city the size of Montreal that's been added to our country in the last 5 years. Isn't that insane? And they keep going and going and going. They say they're slowing it down, but no, it's increased this year. Anyway, last thing I've got for you guys tonight. You may be wondering why you're hearing all this stuff about Tylenol. Well, let me bring this up here. Donald Trump, I found this on Al Jazeera, but you can find it anywhere. And, you know, I was using Al Jazeera as a source for a while, and then I found that they were also taken over by the left-wing crew, by the globalists. So you can't really trust any media these days at all, can you? But Donald Trump is urging pregnant women to avoid Tylenol over unproven autism risk. Okay, so let's take that off the screen. You guys heard of, I forget the guy's last name. Vince is his name. I get a message, a notification on my phone every morning at 10 o'clock. The Vince Show, now streaming. And I go, who the is Vince? And then I remember, oh yeah, he's the guy who took over for Dan Bongino when he went to go work for the FBI. So here's what Vince says about all of these women, young women, lefties, pregnant women going online and taking Tylenol because Donald Trump and RFK Jr. said not to.
Witnessing any of the Trump derangement syndrome on display lately among pregnant women. These are lefty pregnant women who are now chugging Tylenol to protest Donald Trump. Left-wing, mentally incontinent, pregnant women now chugging Tylenol on social media, harming their own child in an effort to get back at Trump. The libs of TikTok are absolutely going ballistic. You know, Trump tells them, hey, this is a bad idea to take Tylenol. It might hurt your kid. Okay, I'm going to hurt my kid now. What? This is the left. They always resort to child sacrifice in order to achieve their political ends. Every time. It's like, how about stop doing that? Oh, yeah, and Tylenol, back in 2017, the official position of Tylenol is that we don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for your time. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today. That almost actually, you know what's funny about that Tylenol statement, in addition to just telling the truth about their position on their product, is they basically end it with, thank you for your attention to this matter. We don't recommend taking our products while you're pregnant. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That was Tylenol back in 2017. So wait, if Tylenol said it, then what's the problem with Trump saying it? And Trump said it. So the problem is Trump said it. So I'm gonna poison my child now. That's it. Good plan, you idiot. I mean, it'd be one thing if she was hurting herself, but us, you know, conservatives, people with a brain, they recognize this is a unique human that you're hurting. So you're doing something awful to your child. Stop doing that. Don't do that.
I like that guy. Oh, by the way, here's that tweet. 2017. Tylenol said, this is somebody saying, hey, can I take Tylenol while I'm pregnant? We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today. There it is, right there. 2017, March 7th. Don't do it. Oh, no. I'm going to do it twice. These are the same people who were eating Tide Pods a few years ago. Not stable. What do you guys think? And this is going to come off sounding pretty harsh, maybe even a little bit misogynistic, but whatever. And by the way, author Helen Andrews, here she is here. She's got a book. And it's called The Feminization of the United States of America. The Feminization of the United States of America. And she goes on to say, Helen Andrews, she says that since women have started to become far more prominent in business and government in the last 20 or 25 years, and again, women, ladies, females, real ones, watching the show tonight, please don't take offense to this. I would like you to think about this critically, if possible, and I know that it's kind of incendiary. But since this has happened, since more and more women have been flooding the workplaces, if you will, our country has become extremely more Marxist. Very interesting. So Helen Andrews gave a talk about this very thing about a week ago now. And we're going to run that tonight on the extension. And we also have a feature called Why Communism is a Failed Religion, which ties into the feminization thing and how for communism to succeed, men must be put in the back seat. It's all very interesting, and it's coming up tonight on the extension for the All Access crowd. You Nighthawks on shadowdavis.com. And if you're not a member of the Shadow at Night community on Telegram, please go there and join up immediately. Once again, thank you to Karen Esperson, to Jeff Godrey, to Jim and Thundra Kerr for coming on the show tonight with their live reports on the ground at Universal Ostrich Farm. Big win today, baby. Even though CFIA and the RCMP are still on the grounds, they can't touch the ostriches. A stay order was granted today and will remain in place probably until the second week of October, but we'll find out more as the days go on. So the stress is off, at least for now. I love you all. I appreciate you all, and I'll catch you again tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central. Bye for now. Extension, I will see you in 2 minutes.